Oh, he has exorcised the demons. Jeff Stone here from MagicReview.com on day 16 of the year 2016. A Thought Well Stolen by Ben Harris, not Paul Harris. Imagine this effect. A deck of cards is shuffled. You think of any card, literally think of any card you want, free choice, free thought. And you cut the deck as many times as you want. And then this magician here, will deal through the cards one at a time, face up. So turning the deck face up, counting 1 through 52. You remember the number where your card falls. So let's say, for the sake of argument, you're thinking of the 4 of hearts, and it's at position 10. All right? So you've got that in your head. Now, I legitimately, as a magician, do not know the number, nor do I know the card you're thinking of. I take out another deck. I look through it as I'm reading your mind, and I think, this, and I hold up a card, and I think, yes, this is your card. And then I look at you, and I say, okay, now think of the position. So I place the card in my deck and give it a little cut and think, yes, that's it. And so now the claim I'm making is that I just took your card and I cut it to... The claim is, theoretically, that I just grabbed the 4 of hearts and cut it into position 10. I don't say that out loud, but I do say I cut your card to the thought of position. You then prove it by you each start dealing through your decks one at a time. And you go 1, 2, 3, and then you stop at the one before their thought of number. So the spectator stops at number 9, and you say, okay, this is the next card, the 10th card. That's your card. You turn over yours. He turns it over. It's a 4 of hearts. You turn over yours, and it's the 4 of hearts. That's effect number 1. Effect number 2. And so, to be clear, what effect number 1 is, you proved that you could read their mind by placing their thought of card at their thought of number in another deck of cards, and you proved it by going through the dealing. And by the way, the dealing is legitimate. There's no phony deals or any tricky stuff like that. Then the second effect is you can show that all the cards before the selected card were not, or the thought of card did not match. But then you can say, you know what, I've got some mad skills, and you do one little quick fancy cut or something, apparently, and then you start dealing cards from his pile and your pile at the same time, and every single card matches. The next card's the 10 of diamonds in his deck, and it's 10 of diamonds in yours. Jack of spades in his, Jack of spades in yours. 3 of hearts in yours, 3 of hearts in his, all the way through. That's the basic effect. So if you like that effect, generally speaking, I think you'll be happy with this. The method is actually really good. It's self-working. I mean, you have to be able to do a false cut. That's it. And they actually teach a false cut and a false shuffle. But other than that, there's nothing involved. It's very simple. It's self-working. It uses 2 regular decks of cards that are not gaffed at all. They're just regular cards. But there's a couple of issues that you need to be aware of. One, just a minor thing. The ad copy says it's 40 pages. It's not. It's a 31-page booklet. I will prove it to you. It's the last page in the book. Page right before it. 31. Okay. Secondly, in the ad copy, it says that you are able to reveal let me make sure I get the exact wording here so I don't lie to you here. Let's see. Come on. Open up. It says, the performer reveals the identity of a freely thought of card and its position in the deck without asking a single question. Revealing the identity you can only do with a sleight of hand method. If you don't use the sleight of hand method, you do not know what that card is before you turn it over when you get to the 10th card or whatever their secret number is. You don't know what the card is. So you can't actually reveal it unless you do the sleight of hand method, which is fine. And the sleight of hand involved is very minimal to be able to do that. There's also some alternate versions using some other techniques that don't involve sleight of hand, but they're a little bit more elaborate. So I'm okay with that. But the next one is that you reveal. What did it say? Did it say reveal? Performer reveals the identity of a freely thought of card and its position in the deck. You never reveal the position in the deck. You never say, and your number was 10. The closest thing you get to that is when you stop when the spectator, as you're dealing, the spectator stops on the 9th card because you've told him to stop at 1 before his card, before his number. So he stops at 9, knowing that the 10th card is his. When you're at that position, you can then say the next card is the 10th card, which is the position of your card. Well, obviously, because you guys are both just counting to 9. So you're not revealing anything. The only way that that's true is that, yeah, you reveal it in the sense that you must have known it because you placed their card somehow at the 10th position, so therefore you must have known that number. But you never actually reveal it. And I'm not even saying they're being dishonest necessarily here. I'm just saying I want you to be clear, because it'd be very easy to read that effect and think, I mean, listen to this. The performer reveals the identity of a freely thought of card and its position in the deck without asking a single question. That sounds to me like the spectator thinks, 4 of hearts, looks through the deck, it's in the 10th position, and then you go, hey, you're thinking of the 4 of hearts and it's in the 10th position. You reveal it. You don't say it. And the way you reveal it is by showing that in your deck you did the same thing. So I'm just clarifying. I'm not saying that they're lying. I'm just clarifying. So there's maybe a couple other minor issues. One we'll talk about when we get into the product quality. But go dig into the written review. It's very detailed and it covers a lot of this stuff. Next thing up. So effect. You know what the effect is. The method is, again, it's all self-working. It relies on some principles that are old as the hills. In fact, that's one thing I want to touch on too. In this ad copy and throughout the book, he keeps saying that this has an ending that rivals Paul Curry's Out of This World, or that it's reminiscent of Out of This World, or it's like Out of This World. He keeps comparing it to Out of This World, and frankly, if I'm going to compare it to a Paul Curry effect, I would compare it to Power of Thought, because it uses almost the exact same method. Now, granted, the first part of the effect uses the Power of Thought method, whereas the second part of the effect, actually the second part of the effect still is using that same sort of method. So it really is more of a similar to Power of Thought than it is Out of This World. I get what he's saying. Out of This World, they've separated the reds and the blacks. Well, you're, not separating anything. You're just showing that both decks have the exact matching cards as you turn them up, as I mentioned a minute ago. So I don't quite see why he keeps saying that about Paul Curry, and he never mentions Power of Thought, which I think is a bummer, because this method owes a lot to Power of Thought, and I feel that there should be some credit given there. So diving now, so we've gone from effect, you know what it is, the method, the ad copy, I've covered that. So now product quality. The book is very well written. It's very well put together. It's nice looking, and it's very well written. I found 1 or 2 typos, but none of them affected your ability to learn the effect. So the only 2 complaints I have, one is minor, but one is pretty major. The minor one is he's a little bit full of himself when it comes to how powerful, how braggadocious he is about the power of this effect. So constantly throughout the book, it's almost like he's stroking his own ego here about, look how awesome this effect is that I created. So I don't know if he's just being funny and playful, or if he's just being arrogant. I'm not sure which. That was a minor thing. I'm not going to dock it for that, but I just thought I'd mention it because it bugged me a little bit. But here's the thing. This is a big deal. In the book, in the instructions, it says that when you're ready to do the reveal, that you and the spectator deal your cards. So remember, he's got a deck, and he knows that his card is whatever, the 4 of hearts in the 10th position. And we don't know that, but our deck also has the 4 of hearts in the 10th position due to the magical nature of how this method works. So the deal is, it says in the instructions, both of you count down to one position before the spectator's secret number and stop there simultaneously while you, the performer, count. So think about this for a minute. You don't know the number, okay? The spectator does. So as far as you're concerned, the number could be 1, or it could be 52, or it could be 40, it could be 30, it could be anything in between. You're supposed to stop at one number before at the same time he does. That reminds me of that old, joke story, whatever, about the guy on the bus, and the girl says, hey, where's the 29th Street exit, bus stop? And he says, oh, just watch me and get off one exit before I do. Well, how is she going to get off one exit before him if she doesn't know where his exit is, and she doesn't know his is after hers? The same kind of thing where, so I'm counting, according to the book, I'm supposed to count 1. Now, what if his magic number was 2? Well, he should stop on the number 1, but I don't know that's his magic number or his thought of number, the position of his card. So I go 1, and I'm like looking at him. 2, 3, 4. I've got to time it so that we stop at the same time. That, after, by the time you get to 40, if they haven't stopped yet, it clearly looks like you don't know where you're going to be stopping, which you're claiming you do know. And B, that's going to make for a long presentation. And something I forgot to mention in the written review, what if their number is 1? He never tells you how to address that. He never really talks about how to address it when it's lower numbers like 1 or 2 or anything like that. Never covers that. So there's some pieces missing there. But the big thing is that deal where you're dealing and counting the cards and you don't know when you're going to stop. You're relying on the spectator to stop at 1 before his secret thought of number. And so you have to watch him and time it. And I get that that's something that, as a performer, you can manage and figure out. But the way he's claiming this thing, it's like this thing has made him famous and that this is the best thing he's ever invented and that he's fried all these people with it. Well, then give us some real world experience on how to deal with that. How do you actually manage that? What are you doing? Are you just looking at them and trying to time it? Frankly, if he would have said, have them count, I actually thought it was a typo that when he said that the performer should be counting, I thought it was a typo and maybe he meant that the spectator should be counting. Because if the spectator counts, then this is a moot point. But he's saying the performer counts. And again, if the whole claim is that you know the position of the card, then you shouldn't have to be awkwardly watching him and going, is he going to stop on 10? Is he going to stop on 11? Is he going to stop on 29? Is he going to stop on 30? Is he going to stop on 47? Is he going to stop on 40? Oh, he stopped at 48. Okay, so his secret number must be 49. I knew that it was 49. See, I stopped when you did. A little bit awkward. I'm not saying it's insurmountable. I'm just saying there's no information in the book about it. And that is, if you blow that part of the trick, you've blown the entire trick. There is no going back from it. That is the very moment of the climax where you have proven your claim that you knew the thought of card and the thought of position. And if you don't get that part right, you've screwed up the effect. So with that one piece of information, the most critical piece, this effect can blow up in your face. So that's the final word on that. I gave it 3.5 stars, stone status of gem with a small g. I still think the concept's very smart, very clever. And again, it's using Paul Curry methods. Well, hello, the guy was a genius. I just don't feel there's anything that new. And again, it's kind of a thing where Ben Harris is like, look at how amazingly new this awesome thing I did where I combined this and that, and look how awesome I am. And again, I might be reading his ego wrong there, but the point is he is making bold claims about how awesome this is. And it is awesome, and the method is awesome, and I think most people would agree that's a pretty good effect, I think. I've not tested it, so I don't know how it'll play. But regardless of the effect, if you like it, then great. If you don't, then whatever. It's the method that I'm concerned about and that I care about. And so because A, you're paying $30 for one trick, basically. And B, because the critical piece of that trick is left out, I'm going to have to drop my rating down to 3 stars, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, guys. It's 3 stars. Yeah, 3 stars. It's still gem, because there is potential here. The concept is good here, and with the right performance, personality, and everything, and the right thinking, and somebody with a little bit more experience, because he's claiming this is for beginners, I would say with the pieces that are missing, you need a little bit more experience. So with all that put together, I'm going with 3 stars. Stone status of gem with a little g. Yeah, there you have it. So, sorry. Now you know what goes through my head, how I think about these things. Anyway, for $30, you should get all the work, all the details on it, and you don't. That's it. Time to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and listen to the random iTunes song in a moment. And I shut down my iTunes screen. Here we go. And it is, Good Pain by Live, which is not coming on for some reason. It's one of these songs that starts out really slow and quiet. There you go. Live is a great band. They're from the 90s. I've heard rumor that their band's actually called Live, not Live. I don't know. It's a bummer that their name is spelled L-I-V-E, though, because they were in the 90s, and it was, pre-Google, right? And I've tried to find information about the band. Every time I type in live band or live whatever, I get stuff about just generically live concerts, like, the latest live concert in your area, as in a concert that is live, not as in the band live. It's the latest Ozzy or Aerosmith or, I don't know, Beyonce live. Whatever. Shut up, Jeff. Tune in tomorrow, day 17, where we look at Miguel Angel Gea. That's how Luis D'Amato says it. Essence. 4-disc set. It's like 10 hours. And I'm about half through it. So, tune in tomorrow for that. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you then. Peace out.